Hey, what's up everybody? How are you guys doing? Welcome to the game of the day of round number 2 of the Super Tournament GRENKE Chess Classic. This is Pepe Cuenca from Spain, and we had a fantastic beginning of the tournament in round number 1 with that game between Magnus Carlsen and Vincent Kaymer. And today it didn't go differently, and we had a fantastic and amazing game between Paco Vallejo, the Spanish number 1, and Magnus Carlsen in another long game, in another fighting encounter. So let's cut the bullshit, right? So it's time to start analyzing what happened in the 64 squares, and I hope you guys enjoy this game. So Paco Vallejo decided to go for e4. Magnus replied with e5. We didn't know what Magnus was going to play. We were expecting maybe some Sicilian, like the Pelican, or even the Modern, as he has played sometimes. But he tries this time e5, knight f3 by Paco Vallejo, knight c6, and here there are different alternatives. So Paco Vallejo has played himself many times the Scotch, also the Italian, and the other main line is the Spanish reloaded with bishop b5, and this is what Paco tries against Magnus in this game. Again here, two main lines, the main Spanish with a6, also the Berlin defense, one of the most solid approaches for black against e4, right? But Magnus wants to party, and then he plays a6. He doesn't want to go for the Berlin, the boring Berlin. Here again, two possibilities, the exchange variation after bishop takes e6, but the main line goes after bishop a4. Knight f6 was played by Magnus Carlsen and short castle by Paco Vallejo. Here, main lines are bishop e7, knight takes e4, even b5 is played many times. These are Archangel variations, but Magnus goes for the move bishop c5, not the main line, but pretty interesting. So maybe some of you at home would be saying, Pepe, what happens after bishop c6 and knight e5? Looks like white is winning a pawn and looks difficult for black to capture on e4. Actually, black can take this pawn on e4, because if you go rook e1, don't blunder Facundo. Alright, just protect him. Rook e1, bishop f2, and black wins. And if white goes queen e2, and then there's queen d5 protecting and attacking at the same time, and actually black's fine. So that's why nobody takes really on c6 here, but the main move goes after c3, which makes a lot of sense. You want to create a nice center with the move d4 here, and Magnus goes for short castle in this position. Paco goes for d4, and here we have to say that even the main line is e takes d4 in the database, so most of people play this e takes d4. It's actually a bad move. The reason is the following. Magnus didn't go for that, of course. He played bishop a7, but after e takes d4, c takes d4, bishop a7, now after the move e5, white is gonna gain a lot of space in center, right? So if you go anywhere but not d5, then d5 is gonna come, and if black tries to blockade this d4 pawn, then after the move bishop b3, black is in deep trouble, since after knight d7, d5, and then all black pieces are in the background. A lot of troubles. This is not a good party for Magnus. So that's why after d4, bishop e7, sorry, a7 was played here. And the point is, e5 is hanging, right? So you could say, Pepe, what happens after d takes e5? Well, the problem is that e4 is also hanging. So here there are two main lines, according to my database. D takes e5. The other one is bishop g5. So in the game, Paco went for d takes e5. After bishop g5, black's idea is just to force the trade on f6 after the move h6. So bishop f6, queen f6, and again, some of you would be asking, Pepe, what happens after bishop c6? Looks like white is winning a pawn. No, not at all, because after the move queen c6, again, same problem. e4 is also hanging. Knight e5, queen e4, and again, black has the bishop pair, and as Confucius said, you know, keep the bishop pair, guys, in your games. Even black could be a bit better in this position. You got the bishop pair, and in return, white has nothing. So that's why after bishop e7, at this point, Paco tried the line d takes e5, knight e4, and here there was a game between Sergei Karyakin, Ice Cube's Karyakin, to take away. He is one of the most solid chess players in the world, right? He tried to move queen d5 here in this position, but today Paco Vallejo decided to change, and then he went for the move bishop c2. By the way, that game ended in a draw. So bishop c2, targeting the e4 knight, also putting some pressure on the h7 pawn, maybe some Greek gift themes. After the knight moves to c5, let's say there could be some bishop h7 ideas. So let's say knight c5, boom, bishop h7, king takes h7, knight g5, and maybe you gotta go to g6. You go to g8, then boom, queen h5, and white just wins. So that's why at this position Magnus went for d5, reinforcing the knight on e4. And now this bishop on c8 is ready to go for the party. He stood up, and then he looked so elegant, and then he's ready to go to g4 and to create some troubles and create a pin. So that's why there would be a lot of pressure on this e5 pawn. There are also some f6 ideas in these positions. That's why Vallejo decided to take en passant, right? E takes e6, knight takes e6, the most natural move, and then bishop g5 attacking the queen on d8. Then also bishop f4. It's interesting. But Paco tries bishop g5, and here two main moves, two different alternatives. Let's say queen e8 is not really good because after rook e1 you just wasted the tempo. But then you can play queen d7, which doesn't look pretty. I said pretty. It doesn't look really pretty, because then this bishop on c8 is kind of locked, and then it's not easy to develop. So that's why Magnus decided to trust in Facundo. We all believe in Facundo. f6, always solving the situation. There was some situations in the before Christ, like let's say two centuries before Christ, where Facundo didn't solve a problem. But after that, there are no records where Facundo hasn't solved an issue. So f6, and then bishop f4 was played by Paco Vallejo, and here Magnus Carlsen goes for it. He goes for the move g5. We were crazy about this move in the broadcast, in the Spanish broadcast. I was joking with Davis, with my colleague. I was saying to him, what do you think about this g5? Let's make some bet. He plays g5, you have to invite me for some dinner. And then he said, come on, g5 is not gonna happen. Come on, that looks like bullshit. But it happened in the game. So Magnus is playing extremely active in all his game. He's showing an extremely aggressive attitude towards his opponents. There's no coincidence that now he is again in his best level in years. And this move shows the spirit he has in all his games. So again, what's the idea? Of course, if you retreat this bishop to g3, again, we all believe in Facundo, f5. And then he's trying to go f4 here and create some sort of dangerous attack against the white scheme. The key of this point of this g5 and f5 move is this knight on c6, because after the move bishop b3, let's say king h8, there's no bishop e5, which would be a killing move if this knight wasn't on c6, right? So that's why after the move g5, Paco decides to take on d6, queen takes e6, queen takes e6, c takes e6, and now knight bd2. And we reach this endgame without queens, where actually black has the bishop pair, but in return for white, the black's position is a little bit weak. There are some weaknesses, like for example this d6 pawn, which could be easily attacked by knight c4, rook d1, etc, etc. And also maybe the position of the black king would be a little bit weak at some point. So here Magnus tries to go for g4, using the fact that now he can't jump to d4. Maybe with one more tempo, sorry, then after knight d3, this knight would be able to jump to d4. So that's why this knight is forced to go to the corner on h4, which is also an interesting square because he's aiming to jump to f5 sooner or later. And here Magnus had two possibilities, let's say. So f5, again, trying to create some counterplay on the king side, or d5. The problem with f5 maybe is knight c4, and then again creating some pressure. It's true that, for example, f4 here is very interesting, sacrificing the pawn on g3, using the fact that this guy here is a monster on a7. But then after the move knight a4, sorry, knight d4, protecting Facundo again. So looks like white is a little bit better. So Carlsen didn't want to allow knight c4, and he went for the move d5, covering these two important squares, c4 and d4. At this point, Paco Vallejo decides to go for knight a5, improving the position of this Corcel, and Carlsen goes for d4. He had enough with this isolated pawn, and now he wants to get rid of it, and then so no more isolated pawn, so I don't have to protect it anymore. So that's why this move is really interesting. The point is, it's not really good to take on d4, because after knight d4 takes, black has the bishop pair, and in return white has nothing. So basically in this position the only who can push is just black. That's why Paco tries to go for knight c4, aiming to go to d6, creating pressure on b7, on c8, and Magnus tries now to free his position by playing bishop f5. Bishop f5, and now this pawn is attacked, so that's why Magnus had to go for h5, and then we were all thinking probably this is gonna end in a draw. Like they're opposite color bishops in this position. Nothing special for white, nothing special for black, but it's just amazing how Magnus is able to create a lot of troubles, and then he started to do that from this point. Rook a d1 for Paco Vallejo, really natural move, bringing the rook to the open files and semi-open files, creating, whoa, what did I do here? Like so many stupid arrows. Oh, don't tell me that the program collapsed. No, I would be extremely sad. No, all right. We are back in business. So rook a d1, rook f d8. We were considering also rook a to d8. And a4 was played by Paco Vallejo. Since now, maybe that black has covered the d6 threat, b5 could be annoying for white. So that's why a4 here. And now we can see the reason why Magnus maybe brought this rook to the d8, to the d file, and not the a rook, because in many lines black could consider playing b5, and then the a file would be open for that rook, and then that rook would be extremely well placed on the a file. And here again, b5 maybe just simplifies the things too much. That's why Magnus didn't go for that. Let's say takes, knight a3, b takes, and let's say b takes, and then probably these two pawns are gonna get exchanged, or even rook d8. Sorry, not rook d2, not the best move in the position, but rook d8, and b takes e3, and then this looks extremely drawish. But Magnus again, in his spirit, trying to keep all the pieces in the board, trying to put a lot of pressure with his Norwegian screwdriver in his opponent's shoulders, in his opponent's asses. So he goes for knight e7, keeping pieces in the board, and then also asking this guy where he wants to go. And then Paco tries to keep this bishop in this diagonal, so this rook can't join the party on c8. Bishop e6 check, king g7, and now rook f to e1 by Paco Vallejo, which also creates a threat. The threat is just very simple. Bishop g4, using the fact that the knight on e7 is not protected. So that's why, again, Magnus, again, believing in Facundo, he goes for bishop f8. Now just, for f5. I said bishop f8, and am I getting crazy? Of course, now bishop takes f5 just doesn't make any sense, because now after knight f5, just white just loses. So, and again, Magnus is threatening maybe to bring this king to f6, and then this bishop could be in trouble, because it hasn't got so many squares, and then white could get nervous after king f6, right? It's like that situation when you go to your exams at the university. I had a friend at university. I was studying civil engineering in my city in Granada, in the south of Spain. I had this friend, I don't want to say his name. He always had to shit before an exam, you know? Always. It doesn't matter which subject, it doesn't matter that he knew almost everything, but he had to go and shit. So, you know, in chess, you get the same feelings sometimes. You get extremely nervous. I'm not saying we all shit when we get nervous, you know, but at this point, you gotta do something about this king f6, and that's why Paco played knight a5, giving some pressure to this bishop, so no more troubles, no more shit. So, knight a5 attacking also b7, rook a to b8 was played by Magnus Carlsen, and king f1 by Paco, bringing this king to the center, makes a lot of sense, and king f6, attacking this guy. Bishop b3 was played by Paco Vallejo, also creating this threat of rook e6, which would be winning the game on the spot, right? So for example, you play something stupid like h4, boom, rook e6. The only way of protecting this guy on e7 is to play king f7, and for example, rook a6 check. Then rook a7, black has to resign. So that's why after bishop b3, knight g6 was played by Magnus, rook a6 by Paco, and king g5. And the position was becoming already extremely crazy. Magnus is going all for it, but again, this king would be, or could be, in a lot of trouble at some point. So g3 was played by Paco Vallejo, covering f4. So no more knight f4 ideas, no more h4, f4 ideas. So d takes e3 was played by Magnus, b takes e3, rook takes e1, bishop takes e1, and rook d8, attacking this bishop on d1. And at this point, Magnus said in the press conference that he didn't see f4 again. Who solves the issue? Facundo. It's not me, it's not Facundo, it's just what happens in every game. And here Magnus had to take en passant. And this frees a lot Paco's Vallejo position. It was extremely interesting to take this pawn on f4 with a knight, sacrificing the whole piece for 2 pawns. G takes f4, king takes f4. Now this bishop is attacked. Let's say after bishop e2, these pawns can run a lot. But also after rook d2, there are many nasty ideas related by bringing this rook to b2 on a2, and then to the first rank where they could be made on g1. The engines say that this position is around equal, but this is extremely crazy to play in practice. Alright, but Magnus, he took en passant, g takes f3, bishop takes f3, and h4. Magnus doesn't care about his pawns on the queen side, but instead he tries to create some weakness on the king side, and he doesn't even care losing these 2 pawns. If he manages to get this pawn on g3, he will have a lot of action, a lot of counterplay on the king side, given the fact that all his pieces are here, that the king on f1 is weak, and that this one is passed, and then is already on the 4th rank. So knight c4 was played by Paco Vallejo. Here bishop b7 was interesting. Takes, and rook d3. The position is extremely unbalanced and double-edged. Let's say bishop takes, rook takes e3. White's a pawn up, but then look at this game. Look at all black pieces. The engines say this is a wrong equal, but I would say it's much easier to play in practice for the black player. But Paco goes for knight c4, setting a trap, because now Magnus took g3, and probably some of you at home will be saying, Pepe, come on, stupid Spanish guy. I'm just tired of seeing you in chess 24. Why don't you play rook d3 and just win the game? Attack this, easy chess, simple chess, yeah? But boom, there's rook g6, sorry, takes a knight e5. Now you see the point of this knight c4 idea. So that's why Magnus didn't go for rook d3, but instead he goes for bishop b8. Now he's covering the e5 square, so no more tricks. You are threatening to go rook d3, but also the pawn on g3 is hanging. That's why Paco had to go unprotected with king g2. And now b5 was played by Magnus, again increasing the pressure. Now this knight will have to go away from the d2 square, and from the e5 square, black's gonna have a lot of active ideas related by bringing the knight to e5, the rook to d2, and at this point Paco is in move 36, and with 2 or 3 minutes in the clock, extremely tough to play this position. A takes b5, and he had the most the best move for white in this position, according to the engines, was knight a3. Not an easy move to play. Let's say, for example, f4 ideas, or even knight e5. Also rook d2. This looks extremely unpleasant for white, even though the engines say this is more or less equal. But knight e3 was played by Paco Vallejo. Here f4 was very interesting. Magnus went for rook d2. f4 is very interesting because you can take on f4 since there is a fork. After bishop e4 attacking the knight, there's knight f8 with a double attack. But okay, after this move, takes, rook e7. Even this, the engines say that black can have a lot of resistance here, because after the move king f3, the rook is going to come to b7. Black is going to capture the b5 pawn, and then white could give a nice fight still in this position. But okay, Magnus went for rook d2, king h3, and rook d3. Attacking this pawn on c3, but most importantly, like threatening this move knight e5, sorry, which would be threatening to win a piece on the spot. Too many pieces on the 3rd rank, yes? So that's why Paco went for bishop e2, rook c3, bishop e5, sorry, b5, and now Facundo, the same guy always, f4, solving the situation. And now Paco was in deep trouble, because now you can't really move the knight, since g3 is gonna fall. Let's say knight f1, f takes e3, and this knight is joining the party on f4, and black is just winning. So that's why Paco found the only move for white here, which is bishop e8. So he's saying, you know, you attack me, I'm gonna attack you. So you feel me, Bishop e8, sacking this knight on g6, and Magnus says, you know what, I'm gonna double attack you, the rook on e6 and the knight on e3. Again, Paco, same story, says, you are bothering me, so I'm gonna bother you again with rook b6. And here Magnus finds another annoying move for Paco, which is bishop e5, because after bishop e7 there's rook b5, and then white saves the knight, so bishop e5, and again you can't take on f4, because after bishop f4 then this knight is gonna fall, and Paco goes for knight f1, f takes e3, and we reach this position where Paco had to play extremely precise to make a draw. This was one of the key moments in the game. Now the key move was rook b4. It's not easy to play rook b4, okay, because this rook here on the 3rd rank, on the 6th rank, is controlling this knight. Because now this knight can join the party. This knight would be extremely happy, would be almost killing white after coming to f4. So that's why the rook on b6 is extremely well placed. But the point on rook b4, is that white is just threatening to take this pawn after rook g4 and knight g3. Let's say knight a6, rook g4, king f6, knight g3, and after knight f4, I understand that this looks extremely dangerous for Paco. And that's why maybe he didn't want to go for this. Let's say king e7 also looks winning, attacking the bishop on e8, threatening bishop f6. The king is almost trapped. But then there's this saving move, knight h5. And according to the engines, this is more or less equal. So he didn't go for rook b4, and he did rook b6, rook a3 by Magnus, rook b6 by Paco, and now rook a2, increasing the pressure now and threatening now the move g2, which would be winning on the spot. We have to say that white can't really take on g3, because after rook a3, white is losing a piece. So that's why now Paco tries rook b4. The idea is very simple. You go g2, then rook g4 and rook takes e2, and then position is equal. But then Magnus goes knight to e6, rook g4 check, and king f6, bishop c6 was played. Again, after knight g3 there is knight g5, and now this is even better for black, because now you can't go to h4 since there is checkmate on h2. You will have to sacrifice an exchange, and then according to the engines this is extremely tough to defend with the white pieces. There's a lot of fight still going on, but then probably black would be winning. But here Paco tries to place bishop c6. g2 was played by Magnus. The point is, after bishop takes g2 there's knight f4, and again white has to sacrifice an exchange. You can't really move the king to g3 or to h4 or to h2 since there's knight g2, and then black's winning a piece. But then instead white has to take on f4, and after bishop f4 we reach this position where, according to the Nalimov or Lomonosov table basis, black is winning. This is extremely tough to win though, and the table bases were saying that Magnus was winning in 54 moves. And you guys know the rule about the 50 moves. If there is no capture or a pawn movement in 50 moves, this is just a draw. So probably Paco, playing every precise move, would be able to hold the draw. But of course the position is extremely annoying, and then Paco has only 10-15 minutes in the clock. So bishop b8 by Magnus, knight g3, king g5, and again you can't go really knight e4 here, because after king f4, bishop h1, after rook a3, black is winning. For example, king h2, and then king f5 check. You can never go to g2 since the knight on e4 is hanging. Let's say king g1, and now rook a1, king g2, and finally we grab the knight. So that's why Paco didn't want to go for knight, but instead he goes for knight e2, which looks very natural, since now this king is gonna have troubles to progress, because now these two pieces are controlling these important four squares. Alright, so after knight e2, Magnus decides to waste another tempo with bishop c7, king g2, and now king h4, and black is making a lot of progress here. King f2, bishop f6, king e1. We have to say that if white stays in the same flank, like say king f1, after rook a1, king g2, rook e1, white is in Zugzwang. You guys know this interesting German one, Zugzwang, extremely impossible to pronounce for a Spanish guy. but what means is the one who moves loses. So here, let's say after knight f4, no more king moves in this position. Knight f4, rook g1, king h2, king f1, king g2, rook f2, black wins. So that's why after bishop e6, Paco Vallejo tries to run to the other flank with king e1, but bishop e3. This is a fantastic move that controls most of the knight's moves. f4, d4, c1, g1, and the only available move for this knight would run into bishop d2, winning on the spot. So king d1 was played by Paco Vallejo, and it looks like rook d2 followed by rook d8 was the best continuation for Magnus, but then he tried to change plans, and then he tried to bring this king to the action to the other flank. Bishop e4, king f6, bishop f3, king e5, king d6, bishop e4, king c5, bishop f5 by Magnus, so stopping king c4. There's another funny variation. If you go bishop f3, king c4, just a bad move because of bishop d5. And after king takes, knight c3, and it's a dead draw. So bishop f5, rook d2 by Magnus, only available move king e1 and rook d8. And here bishop e4 was played, king c4, making progress with the king. And here it looks like the only available move, or one of the best moves here to fight in this position, was bishop b1 in order to play bishop a2 and bishop b1 and kick this king from c4 and d3. But Paco tries to play a really natural move, the move king to f1. Now he's saying that this king is not here, so I want to run again to this place. And then with the bishop on f3, I have a nice fortress. But the problem is, after rook f8, you can't really escape there, because after bishop king g2, rook f2 comes. So basically, white is forced to come here, and then this beautiful move by Magnus Carlsen, bishop f2, forcing this king to go to the d file. We say forcing this king to go to the d file because if you go to f1, there is bishop b6. Again, only move king e1, bishop a5, and finally you have to come to the d1 square. So after rook f8, king e1, bishop f2 was played, king d2, rook d8, king c2, and bishop e3. And Magnus has made fantastic progress in 15 moves. Now he's threatening to go rook d2. The only way of protecting this knight on e2 is to play bishop f3. Rook d2 was played by Magnus Carlsen. King b1, king b3, and white can almost resign already. Because now black's threatening to go rook d1, rook b2, and then after knight c1 check, king a3, black's threatening to go rook b2 followed by bishop takes c1. Knight e2 was played, rook b2, king a1, rook b8, and again, whenever this bishop lands on this diagonal, white would have to resign. You cannot move the knight since there's bishop d4 checkmate. You waste a tempo with bishop e5 after the move bishop g5, for example, or bishop a6. Then this bishop is gonna land on this diagonal and white will have to resign. So fantastic pressure by Magnus Carlsen. I have to apologize, guys, for such a long video, but these games are requiring a lot of analysis, and there's nothing I can do about that. I just want to explain every variation to you guys so we can learn more about this extremely complex game. So fantastic beginning of the tournament for Magnus Carlsen. Tomorrow we will have more action on Chess24. Remember, you can follow all the action in English and Spanish. Guys, have a fantastic night with all your family members, with all your friends. This has been a pleasure for me. Now it's time for me to go for dinner. It's 11:10 in Madrid. So fantastic pleasure, guys. See you in the next video. Bye bye. If you drink, don't drive. Sayonara, baby. Boom, boom, boom.